After 3 years of chasing Adrian, he still treated me like a stranger. Then his first love flew home, and on a night of crashing downpour he shoved me out of the car. Heart finally dead, I said we should break up. He sneered, "Quit the drama. You can't survive without me." I spun around and dialed his mortal enemy. "Julian, that marriage proposal you made, does it still stand?" A low, delighted laugh rumbled through the line. "It stands. Drop me your pin, future wife. I'm coming to collect you." Later, Adrian knelt bloodshot-eyed, begging me to take him back, while Julian curled an arm around my waist and grinned like a shark. "Dylan, say hello to your auntie." Chapter 1. Behave in the downpour. Rain came down in sheets, hammering the windshield with dull, metallic thuds. The air conditioning was on full blast. I huddled in the passenger seat, still wrapped in Adrian's suit jacket. We'd just left the tasting for our engagement dinner when the phone erupted. He glanced at the screen, and the cool mask he wore cracked, showing a flicker of raw anxiety. Vivian. The white moonlight, he could never forget the girl who could make him abandon a rehearsal dinner the instant she landed back in the country. He picked up. Her teary voice spilled through the speaker, thunder rumbling behind it. "Adrian, I'm scared. The power's out, the thunder's awful." His knuckles bleached around the steering wheel. "Don't be afraid. I'm on my way." Only after he hung up did he remember I existed. He turned, voice cold and matter-of-fact again. "Serena, Vivian's terrified of thunder. You know she's got a weak heart." I stared at the watery blur outside and felt my own heart sink, cold and heavy as lead. "So?" He frowned, annoyed that I dared push back. "I'm going to her. Get out at the next light and grab a cab." We were stopped under an overpass. In this deluge, cabs were extinct, and tonight was supposed to be about tasting cake for our wedding. "Adrian," I said, nails carving half-moons into my palms, "what if I say no?" "Serena." He slammed the brakes. Tires shrieked across the flooded blacktop, and the seatbelt snapped me back so hard my collarbone flared white-hot. He twisted toward me, impatience and disgust dripping from every word, like I'd turned into a shrieking harpy. "When did you become this selfish? The woman's sick. Can't you be generous for once? Do we have to fight now?" Generous. Well-behaved. For 3 years those words had tightened around my skull like iron bands. Generous meant letting him keep her photos. Well-behaved meant watching him bolt to Vivian every time she snapped her fingers. "Get out." The 2 syllables cracked like ice, no room for negotiation. Outside, the rain looked ready to drown the city. I unbuckled, slid off the jacket still warm from his body, and folded it, slow-motion ceremonial, onto the seat. He didn't spare me a glance, fingers drumming the wheel. "Hurry. She's waiting." I opened the door. Rain exploded in, soaking my silk skirt in an instant. The cold bit straight to bone. I stood there, dripping, staring at the man inside. He didn't bother with a "stay safe." Before I could even pull the door shut he gunned the engine, the slam of steel sealing off the last trace of warmth. Through the glass I watched him dial her again, his face washed in tender concern I'd never tasted. Inside my chest something tiny and bright snapped. A soft, total fracture. I swiped water from my eyes, sucked in a breath, and screamed at the beast of a car, "Adrian, we're done." The window cracked an inch. His handsome, heartless face appeared, mouth curled in mock pity. "Serena, how many times are you going to play this game? Quit whining. Without me you'd fall apart. When you learn to stop throwing tantrums, maybe I'll come find you." With that, the black Maybach roared into the storm, claws of spray slapping me head to toe. I stayed on the curb, soaked, shivering, a stray dog in designer heels. Laughing until tears bled down with rain. 3 years. Even a dog learns to trust the hand that feeds. Adrian just doesn't own a heart. I fished my phone from my bag. Rainwater streaked the screen, making it stutter. Through trembling fingers I scrolled to a name that had slept in my blocked list for 3 years. Julian, the Riverdale Mad Dog tycoon, Adrian's sworn enemy, the same man I'd shot down and sworn never to see again. It rang once. "Who is this?" A gravel-rough baritone, just woken, irritation and menace coiled beneath. In the background, music, glasses clinking, somebody whooping. I steadied my voice until it didn't shake. "Julian." Instant, deathly hush, like an unseen hand had killed every speaker in the room. Nothing but the man's thick breathing remained. Serena. Disbelief and something fiercer, something famished, threaded his voice. That proposal you tossed out last month, does it still stand? My eyes shut. Rain hammered my lashes. This time I was betting everything. A lighter snapped, flaring. Then came his low, savage laugh, smoke, velvet, promise, threat. It stands. Send me the pin. I'm coming to fetch my fiancé. # Chapter 2. How a Mad Dog Enters. The location bubble had barely left my phone when an engine howled through the rain, barbaric, lawless. A red Ferrari burst into sight, ripping the wrong way up the street, a crimson lightning bolt straight at me. Julian's car. In the whole city, only he drives like the road owes him money. At the last second he flicked the tail, slewing sideways, showering me with mist before stopping heart-stoppingly close. Door kicks open. A black golf umbrella springs up against the deluge. He steps out barefoot, black silk shirt unbuttoned 3 deep, tattoos licking the hollow of his throat. Water soaks the cuffs cascading over his bare feet. He couldn't care less. Those fox-slant eyes swirl with something I can't read, feral hunger, savage joy, and a tremor of caution. He tilts the umbrella until I'm under its roof, his own shoulder abandoned to the rain, drenched in seconds. What the hell happened to you? Disgust in the words, gentleness in the fingers that strip off the shirt and drape it around my shaking frame, tobacco, skin heat, shelter. I blink through wet lashes. Got bitten by a dog. He blanks, then throws his head back and roars with laughter. Ha. Good. Serves the mutt right. Rough thumb swipes water from my cheek, callous rasping. Serena, climb aboard and there's no lifeboat. You sure? I fist the shirt tighter around me and nod. I'm sure. He lifts me clean off the asphalt, cradles me into the Ferrari's passenger bucket, straps me in with a possessive snap, brutal but careful. Headlights knife through the curtain of rain behind us. Adrian's Maybach. Something, her meds, or a twinge of conscience, has driven him back. The black sedan glides to the curb. Window glides down. Adrian's gaze crashes into me, flushed, furious, then shifts to Julian, who's rounding the hood with a predator's grin. Serena. What do you think you're doing? Adrian storms out, finger stabbing air. So this is your breakup? You leap straight into that psycho's car? Have you no shame? Before I can answer, Julian slams my door shut, sealing me inside his thundering world, and turns, that vicious smile widening. He didn't climb straight in. Instead he leaned against the door, pulled a cigarette from his pocket, and lit it. The flame flared and died in the downpour. Dylan. Long time no see. Julian exhaled a perfect ring of smoke, eyes contemptuous as they met Adrian's. What dumped trash gets picked up and turned into treasure, and now you're offended? Julian, this is between Serena and me. Stay the hell out of it. Adrian strode forward and yanked at the door handle. Serena, get your ass out here. Don't make me drag you. Julian moved. He flicked the cigarette to the asphalt and ground it under his heel, then, without warning, drove his fist into Adrian's face. Crack. Adrian staggered back, blood beading at the corner of his mouth. You dare hit me? He stared, disbelieving, palm pressed to his cheek. Julian flexed his fingers unhurriedly, gaze arctic, something demonic flickering behind it. Hit you? Need to check the calendar first. That punch was for my fiancé. Fiancé? Adrian laughed like it was the joke of the century. Julian, have you lost your mind? She's loved me for 3 years, who the hell are you? He looked past Julian to me, confidence and superiority dripping from every pore. Serena, enough with the tantrum. Slumming with him will only cheapen you. Come down, I'll drive you home. I rolled the window down and met his stare with ice in my own. Adrian, is English not registering? We broke up. From this moment on, I'm Julian's fiancé. The smugness froze on Adrian's face like he'd been slapped raw. Serena, you'll regret this. Without me you're nothing. Julian snorted, swung into the driver's seat, and fired the engine. No reverse lights, he simply slammed the Ferrari into first and floored it. The red beast lunged like a raging bull, straight at Adrian's Maybach. Screech, crash, metal shrieked through the night. The Ferrari's nose scraped the full length of the Maybach's flank, stripping paint and crumpling the door like aluminum foil. Adrian blanched, stumbling backward. Julian, you maniac. Julian kept one hand on the wheel, the other stretched out the window, middle finger saluting Adrian in leisurely contempt. Arrogant, untouchable, supreme. Remember this, Dylan. Next time you see my wife, wipe your damn eyes first. Tires screamed again, and he vanished into the rain-washed dark, leaving Adrian choking on exhaust and fury. Chapter 3, It Hurts, Sis. The Ferrari shot through the night to Julian's penthouse in the heart of the city. He didn't speak once, the speedometer never dipped, yet every curve felt surgically precise. The elevator whisked us straight to the top. The biometric lock chirped. Inside, the lights were off, only the neon skyline bled through the floor-to-ceiling glass. Julian perched me on the console table and caged me in. In the gloom his breath scalded, predatory. Serena. My name sounded raw, fractured. Are you doing this to spite him, or do you actually want to marry me? His hands braced on either side of me, not touching, but the coiled tension in his arms vibrated against my skin. I looped my arms around his neck. Our soaked clothes clung, clammy, but I couldn't care less. Julian, I don't treat marriage like a game. As long as you don't back out, I'll walk down the aisle. His body went rigid. Then his mouth crashed onto mine, nothing like Adrian's polite, patronizing pecks. Julian kissed like he wanted to inhale me whole, to devour 3 barren years in a single breath. My lips split, the metallic tang of blood spread. I didn't push him away, I pulled him closer. When he finally released me, foreheads touching, we were both shaking. Serena, you chose this path. Even if you beg me in tears later, I won't let go. He scooped me up and carried me into the bathroom. Shower. He set me on the marble rim and twisted the hot water tap. Clothes off. I flushed. Yes, I'd accepted his proposal, but full frontal still felt lightning fast. I'll manage. Julian chuckled, lounging in the doorway while his gaze raked over me without apology. I've seen every inch of you, what's the act for? Still, he turned and left. Fresh sets on the rail. I showered, then slipped into the waiting shirt, his white Oxford, enormous on me, hem grazing mid-thigh. Out in the living room Julian sat smoking on the sofa, a first aid kit open on the coffee table. He stubbed the cigarette as soon as he saw me and beckoned. Come here. Saturday. He drew my hand onto his knee, eyes icing over at the bruises Adrian's fingers had left around my wrist. That bastard do this? I nodded. Without a word he poured liniment into his palm, rubbed it warm, and pressed gently over the purple marks. Hiss, I inhaled sharply. Suck it up, he muttered, but his thumbs lightened all the same. The man who'd rammed a sports car into a Maybach now knelt, head bowed, massaging my wrist with infinite care. The contrast dazed me. Julian. How did you get there so fast? 10 minutes, maybe less, from my call to his Ferrari idling beside me unless he'd been close, or watching. His fingers paused. Mocking amusement flickered across those fox-bright eyes. Feeling touched. Are we? He leaned in, breath grazing my ear. Sis, I dumped a multi-billion deal just to pick you up. My hands still numb from that love tap on Dylan's car. He buried his face in the hollow of my neck, voice suddenly soft, almost pouty. It hurts, blow on it for me. Every muscle in my body locked. This was the fabled mad dog of Riverdale. He felt more like an oversized golden retriever, one that brewed top-grade drama tea. I nudged his head, awkward. Quit it. Julian simply flopped across my lap, arms vicing my waist. Make me. Serena, you know how long I waited for that call? 7 years. 7. Freshman year, right when I'd first met Adrian. Before I could process, Julian lifted his head. Lucid dominance replaced the puppy act in a blink. Tomorrow, 8 a.m. bring your birth certificate. Where to? City Hall. He flashed a wicked grin, every inch the triumphant fox. Time to make it legal, and then I can sleep with you without breaking any laws. Chapter 4. The 1,000 Layers of a Green Tea Pup. Paypoint. Morning, sunlight brutal. I woke curled against Julian's chest. He slept motionless, lashes absurdly long, nothing like the waking madman. The moment I shifted, his arm cinched tighter. Morning, wife. Voice sandpaper rough, decadently lazy. I'm not your wife yet, no certificate, no deal, I grumbled, cheeks burning. Julian rolled out of bed, torso chiseled, abs stacked. He raked a hand through his hair, pushing it off his forehead. You will be in an hour. 1 hour later, City Hall steps. Julian in crisp white. I wore its twin, unplanned couple shirts. Photos, signatures, stamps, everything slid through like fate itself had greased the rails. When the clerk slid the 2 red booklets across the counter, I stared, dazed. Married, just like that. To Adrian's sworn enemy. Outside, Julian retrieved a thick folder from the car and slapped it into my arms. What's this? I opened it, and my jaw dropped. Deeds, share transfers, trust funds, portfolios, every asset he owned. Beneficiary lines already signed. Serena. Bride price gift, he said. Julian had one hand in his pocket, his tone as casual as if he were handing over a head of cabbage. My entire fortune. If it's not enough, I'll go earn some more. My hands were shaking. This wasn't a bride price gift. He was handing me his life. Julian, this is too much. I can't. Take it. He cut me off, eyes deadly serious. That idiot Adrian doesn't know treasure when he sees it. He treated you like straw. But to me, you're priceless. These things just give you. From now on, buy whatever you want, bully whoever you want. If anything goes wrong, your husband will clean it up. My throat suddenly ached. After 3 years of Adrian grinding me down, I'd almost forgotten how it felt to be cradled in someone's palm. Julian reached out and pinched my cheek. Why the tears? You look a mess. Disgust in his mouth, but his fingers gently wiped the tears away. Come on, let's go home. Which home? Our home. That night Julian had my things moved straight out of Adrian's apartment and into his mansion. Adrian wasn't around, probably still with Vivian. The movers said the butler tried to stop them, so Julian rang him up. Won't let them move? Then I'll have the house torn down. The butler nearly wet himself and waved them through. Evening. After my shower, I was headed for the guest room when Julian appeared in the doorway of the master bedroom, hugging a pillow in silk pajamas, looking pitiful. Wifey. He batted his peach blossom eyes. The corners were pink, like an abandoned puppy. What's wrong? I'm afraid of the dark. Me. The man who made Riverdale tremble, afraid of the dark. Nobody would believe it. Stop pretending. It's true. He squeezed inside, tossed the pillow on the bed, and slid under the covers like he owned the place. When I was a kid, I was kidnapped, locked in a pitch-black room for 3 days and nights. Left a scar. He said it with such conviction, a perfect glimmer of fear in his eyes. I couldn't tell if it was real. My heart softened anyway. Then you sleep here. I'll take the guest room. No way. A large hand shot out and yanked me into the bed. His warm body pressed against me, pinning me tight. I can't fall asleep unless I'm holding my wife. He nuzzled my neck, voice muffled. Wifey, you smell so good. Did Adrian used to hold you like this? The moment Adrian's name came up, I stiffened. No. Adrian hated that I didn't wear perfume, said I had no scent. He always slept with his back to me. Julian caught the shift in my mood, the corner of his mouth curling in triumph. He breathed against my ear, low and aggrieved. How could he let you do housework? These soft hands were made for luxury. I'm different, I only know how to spoil my wife. Wifey, from now on I'll do the chores, I'll cook. You only have to love me, okay? Right then I admitted it. This shameless sweetheart had me dazzled. His hand snuck from my waist, slipping under my pajama hem, fingertips scorching, leaving shivers everywhere they roamed. Julian. I caught his wrist, breath unsteady. Don't move. He rolled on top of me, eyes wolf-dark. Not a trace of that pitiful act remained. We're legally married, license in hand. Big sister, tonight, shall we make a baby? Moonlight teased the curtains, spring light spilled inside. It was destined to be a sleepless night. Chapter 5, Auction Arena. Morning. I woke to the buzzing of my phone. My body felt as if a truck had run over it, so sore I could barely lift a finger. The space beside me was empty. On the nightstand sat a glass of warm water and a sticky note. Emergency at the office. Breakfast's on the stove, reheat it. Love you. Julian. The handwriting swaggered across the paper. I picked up the phone. Adrian's name jumped on the screen. 20 missed calls. A dozen WhatsApp messages. Where are you? The butler says you moved out. Stop the drama. I was wrong to leave you on the road last night. Vivian's health is fragile, don't take it out on her. There's a charity gala tonight. Vivian wants that tiara. Come with me and win it, call it my apology. Reading them turned my stomach. He wanted me to come help him win a crown for his white moonlight. Adrian, is your brain stuffed with wet tissue? I tossed the phone aside, got up, and showered. Since you want me there, I'll go. But in what capacity, that's up to me. 7 p.m, charity gala venue. I walked in on Julian's arm, dressed to kill. A crimson haute couture gown, skin snow white against the silk radiant and fierce. Julian had it flown in from Paris that morning, the only one in existence. The moment we stepped inside, every gaze locked on us. Adrian was with Vivian, studying the displays. She wore a plain white slip, clinging to Adrian like a fragile little daisy in the wind. Seeing me, Adrian's eyes lit, then narrowed. He strode over. Serena, what are you wearing? He looked me up and down, displeased. Too flashy. Go change. Vivian likes things low-key, you'll steal her spotlight. A laugh tore out of me. Quinn, what I wear is none of your business. Only then did Adrian notice Julian. His face darkened instantly. Julian? What are you doing here? His gaze dropped to my hand on Julian's arm, eyes venomous. Serena, this is your tantrum. Hiring some man to play a role? Let go. Come home with me. He reached to grab me. Julian stepped lazily between us, catching Adrian's wrist. A slight squeeze. Crack. Adrian grunted, face draining white. Dylan, touching my wife right in front of me, am I invisible? Julian flung the hand away and wiped his fingers with a handkerchief as if touching filth. Wife. Clutching his wrist, Adrian stared at me in disbelief. Serena, you married him? Vivian drifted up, eyes wide, hands over her mouth. Serena, how could you be so reckless? Marriage isn't a game. None of your damn business. I eyed her coldly. And don't call me sis. My mother only had me, no green tea little sister. Vivian's eyes reddened. She turned to Adrian, wounded. Adrian, I was only showing concern. Serena, apologize to Vivian. Adrian barked. Apologize. Julian chuckled, arm circling my waist, gaze contemptuous. My woman never has to apologize to anyone. But you, Dylan, sorry, that tiara's not leaving with you tonight. The auction began. The final lot, an antique diamond tiara, opening bid 50 million. Vivian gazed at it, longing glittering in her eyes. Adrian raised his paddle. 60 million. Julian lifted his lazily. 100 million. Gasps rippled through the hall. Adrian clenched his jaw. 110. Julian. 200. Sweat beaded on Adrian's forehead. 200 million was already past his budget, and the old man at home would break his legs for blowing that much on a tiara. Julian, lost your mind? This trinket worth 200 million? Julian didn't even glance at him. Instead, in front of everyone, he brushed a kiss to the corner of my mouth. Voice low, yet carrying. If my wife likes it, so what if it costs 200 million? I'd give my life just as readily. The hammer fell. The tiara was Julian's for a sky-high 200 million. A staff member carried it over carefully. Julian lifted the crown and set it on my head himself. Diamonds blazed like captured stars. He dropped to one knee, kissed my hand. Your Majesty, forgive your knight for arriving late. Flashbulbs exploded. I looked at Adrian's livid face, at Vivian's features twisted green with envy, and felt one word sear through me. Perfect. Chapter 6, The Green Tea Playbook. After the charity gala, Adrian bolted to the underground garage like a madman and blocked our car. Serena, get out here. He hammered the window so hard his eyes were bloodshot. Are you marrying him just to spite me? 200 million? You know what kind of animal Julian is, he's setting you up to crash. Julian lowered the window, one hand draped over the steering wheel, gaze full of teasing contempt. Dylan, still throwing your little tantrum? Don't get cocky, Julian. Serena loved me for 3 years, she can't erase me that fast. She's only punishing me. Adrian's stare bored into me, voice turning pleading. Serena, I was wrong, I shouldn't have dumped you for Vivian. Give the tiara back to him and come home, okay? I'll buy you another one, something even better. The sight of him was pathetic. Back when I begged for a single glance, he tossed me aside like trash. Now that I don't want him, he's crawling back like a stray dog. Adrian. I looked at him, my eyes flat and calm. Those 3 years. Consider them kibble I threw to a dog. Now I have a husband, one who's 1,000, no, 10,000 times better than you. Also, stop stalking me, or else. I turned to Julian and gave him a sweet smile. Honey, you'll take out the trash for me, right? Jamie's eyes were full of indulgence. Of course. Your wish is my command, Mrs. Vance. He glanced at Adrian and the warmth vanished, replaced by icy bloodlust. Dylan, did you hear that? Call her auntie. Or should I help you relive the night 3 years ago when you knelt and begged for mercy? Adrian's face went chalk white, as if some nightmare had resurfaced, and he instinctively stepped back. Julian gave a cold snort, rolled the window up, and sped away. Inside the car, Julian suddenly rested his head on my shoulder. Wifey, was I cool just now? The big begging for praise. I stroked his hair. Very. Then where's my reward? He tapped his lips. I leaned in and gave him a peck, resigned. Too perfunctory. He grumbled, then cupped the back of my head and deepened the kiss. Big sister, don't look at any other guys from now on, especially that sterling trash. I get jealous. When I get jealous, I want to kill. A real flicker of madness crossed his eyes as he said it. My heart skipped. I knew he wasn't joking. This man loves with obsession and insanity. But I'm not afraid. Because that madness burns for me alone. Chapter 7. A surprise at the Sterling family banquet. A few days later, the Sterling patriarch's 80th birthday. As Riverdale royalty, the Sterlings invited every bold-faced name in the city. Adrian sent an invitation addressed precisely to Mr. and Mrs. Vance. An obvious trap. I wanted to decline, but Julian twirled the card, smiling ominously. Go, why not? Perfect time to deliver a gift to the old man. Night of the banquet. The instant Julian and I appeared, every gaze snapped to us. Adrian stood beside the patriarch, his expression dark the moment he saw us. Vivian was at his side, playing hostess. Serena, you're here. Rowan approached, smile dripping false kindness. Now that you're married, learn some wifely decorum. Stop flaunting yourself in public and embarrassing the Sterlings. She'd always despised me, convinced my ordinary roots made me unworthy of Adrian. Now that I'd married Julian, her envy was venomous. Rowan. Julian's arm circled my waist, voice lazy. My wife does whatever she pleases, outsiders don't get a vote. And from now on, address her as Mrs. Vance. Rowan's face turned livid. You ill-bred brute. Enough. The Sterling patriarch strode over, cane thudding, sweeping the room with authority. Today is my birthday, whoever makes trouble can get out. He looked at me, eyes unreadable. Serena, since you're here, chat with Vivian, you girls have things in common. A ploy to separate me so they could gang up on Julian? I opened my mouth to refuse, but Julian squeezed my hand. Go, honey. Don't tire yourself. His eyes promised it was safe. I walked to the lounge area. Vivian glided over with 2 champagne flutes, champion's smirk in place. Big sis Serena, see? Adrian still obeys Grandpa. Grandpa said, as soon as I give him the first great-grandson, I'm in. You, on the other hand, married a psycho once he's bored, you're scrap paper. She offered a glass. Drink to your luck. I stared at the bubbly, coldly amused. Such kindergarten tricks. I accepted the flute, then flicked my wrist. Splash. The entire drink drenched Vivian's snow-white couture gown. Ah! Vivian shrieked. Serena, what are you doing? The ruckus yanked every eye to us. Adrian rushed over and shoved me. Serena, are you insane? Why bully Vivian? I stumbled, almost falling, before a strong arm caught me. Julian's aura iced over. Adrian, which hand did you push her with? Confronted by Julian's murderous glare, Adrian flinched but stood his ground. She threw wine first, everyone saw. Vivian wept delicate tears. Adrian, don't blame sis. It's my fault, I shouldn't have bragged. Same old playbook. I watched their act with a frosty stare. Vivian, you know exactly what you slipped into that glass. Trying to drug me so I disgrace myself in public? Vivian's face twitched. You're lying. I didn't. Then let's test the shards, simple. I pointed at the broken crystal on the floor. Panic swallowed Vivian whole. Suddenly the grand screen flared to life. The respectful slideshow of the patriarch's life cut to a video. Vivian writhing with a strange man on a hotel bed, soundtrack X-rated. Silence detonated. Adrian's face went nuclear green. The patriarch shook with rage, Kane quivering. What is this? Turn it off, now. Vivian clawed at her cheeks. It's not me. Deepfake. Julian lounged beside me, slow clapping. Bravo, encore. Dylan, this is the fragile moonlight you treasured. That shade of emerald looks good on you. So this was Julian's gift. Watching the sterling swallow flies, I burst out laughing. Adrian stared at Vivian, eyes blood red. Vivian, you. Adrian, listen. It's fabricated, they're framing me. Julian's laugh was a blade. Ask the leading man, he'll confirm. Oh, right, he was your college sweetheart, your first love, wasn't he? Twist the knife, perfect. The Sterling birthday gala became Riverdale's running joke. Chapter 8, Big Sister, Spoil Me a Little. Back in the car, Julian was humming an off-key tune, fingers drumming the wheel. Wifey, feel better? I traced the sharp line of his profile, warmth flooding me. Much. Then how about a reward? He leaned over. I laughed and pushed him off. Wait till we're home. The instant the front door shut, he pinned me to the sofa. We're home. His phone rang. Assistant calling. Sam picked up. Talk. Whatever the assistant said turned Julian's face savage. Keep him breathing, don't kill him. I'm on my way. He hung up, murderous energy still crackling. The instant he saw me, he reeled the darkness back inside and put on a hurt little boy face. Wifey, emergency at the office, I have to run out. Go to sleep, don't wait up. I knew it wasn't any simple boardroom crisis. The look he'd worn a moment ago was the one he gets when blood is about to spill. Julian. I caught his sleeve. Be careful. He hesitated, then grinned wide enough to light the room. Relax. For your sake I'll stay alive and kicking. Riley. I couldn't close my eyes after he left. Not until 3 a.m. did the front door finally whisper open. I flicked on the lamp and saw Julian in the foyer kicking off his shoes. His white shirt bore flecks of dried crimson. The sleeves were rolled high, revealing a long, oozing slash along his forearm. When he noticed me, he automatically hid the arm behind his back. Did I wake you? I walked over and pulled the wounded hand into view. What happened? Just scraped it on something. His gaze flicked away like a kid caught breaking rules. I knew he'd gone to settle the score with the people who'd humiliated me, Rowan at the gala, the waiter who'd tried to spike my drink. This fool. I fetched the first aid kit, sat him on the couch, and began cleaning the cut. When the alcohol swab hit, his brows pinched but he stayed silent. Does it hurt? Nope. Such a tough guy. I pressed a little harder on purpose. Hiss. He sucked air through his teeth and stared at me, wounded puppy eyes in full force. Sis, it hurts. Hurt till you drop, then. I cursed him but gentled my touch at once. After I'd taped the last band-aid in place, Julian suddenly wrapped both arms around my waist and buried his head against me. Serena. Don't be afraid of me. His voice was feather-soft, trembling. I'm ruthless to the rest of the world only so I can shield you. In front of you I'll always be your little puppy. My heart melted into a puddle. The ruthless mad dog who made Riverdale tremble had handed every ounce of tenderness and every weakness he owned to me. I cradled his face and kissed him. I'm not scared. Julian, I love you. It was the first time those 2 words had ever left my lips for him. His pupils contracted to pinpricks. The next second the room spun. He pinned me beneath him on the sofa. His kiss crashed over me like a storm, wild with disbelieving joy. Say it again. I love you. One more time. Julian loves Serena. Wrong. He whispered against my ear, voice husky and rough. Julian has loved Serena for 7 straight years. To the death. Chapter 9. The 7-Year Secret. Days flew. Autumn arrived. That afternoon I was hunting for a contract in Julian's study when I accidentally knocked a locked tin box off the shelf. The clasp was loose, and the fall snapped it open. Contents scattered across the rug, stacks of photographs and several yellowed journals. I knelt to gather them and froze. Every picture was of me. Me laughing in camouflage during freshman orientation. Me napping on a library desk. Me queuing for food at the cafeteria. And that rainy night 3 years ago when I sobbed beneath Adrian's dorm, while a faint silhouette watched from distant shadows. That shadow was Julian. Hands trembling, I opened a journal. Every page carried the story of my life in his handwriting. September 1st, 20XX, sunny. Move-in day. Saw a girl with dimples. Her name is Serena. Sounds like music. December 24th, 20XX, snowing. She said yes to that sterling guy. He looks unreliable, but she smiled. As long as she's happy. May 20th, 20XX, rain. That bastard Adrian made her cry. I wanted to punch him, but I have no right. Serena, when will you look back at me? 20XX, she gave up her overseas offer for Adrian. Silly. But I'm worse, I gave mine up too. I need to stay in the city that has her. Tear after tear bloomed on the brittle paper. All those years I chased Adrian, someone guarded me in silence, watching me smile, watching me cry, watching me break my heart for the wrong man. How it must have hurt him. What are you doing? Julian's anxious voice sounded at the door. I lifted my tear-blurred gaze. Seeing the photos and diaries, his face went white. He strode in, trying to scoop everything up. Don't look, it's all nonsense. I flung myself into his arms and held on, sobbing uncontrollably. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Why didn't you storm the wedding and steal me away? His body stiffened, then slowly relaxed. He embraced me, chin resting on my head, voice bitter. Because back then your eyes were full of him. I was terrified that if I showed up I'd lose even the right to watch you from afar. Serena, I'm a despicable man. The night you called me, I was right around the corner. I watched Adrian shove you out of his car and barely stopped myself from beating him to pulp. I was gambling. Gambling that you'd finally give up on him, that you'd remember me. Thank God, I won. I tipped my head, kissing the moisture from the corners of his eyes. No, you won. Julian, thank you for loving me. Thank you for waiting. From this day forward, my eyes and my heart hold only you. Chapter 10, Endgame and Wedding. Under Julian's relentless pressure, the Sterling Empire finally buckled and filed for bankruptcy. Adrian was indicted for commercial fraud and faced years behind bars. Once the Sterlings crashed, Vivian scooped up Adrian's last liquid funds and vanished. They say Adrian lost his mind in lockup, rattling the bars and shrieking my name, insisting I still loved him, that everything was just a nightmare. I went to see him once. Through the glass he wore a prison jumpsuit, head shaved, cheeks sunken, a ghost of himself. At the sight of me he slammed against the partition. Serena, I knew you'd come. Get me out, please. I'm innocent. If you ask Julian to back off, I'll be free. Once I'm out we'll get married, okay? I'll never see Vivian again. I swear you're the only one. I gazed at his madness and felt only pity. Adrian, it's too late. The moment you chose Vivian and shoved me from your car we were finished. This ending is one you wrote yourself. I set the receiver down and walked away. Behind me his desolate howls echoed, but I never looked back. Outside, the sun blazed bright. Julian leaned against the Maybach, waiting. Seeing me, he stubbed out his cigarette, came forward and laced his fingers through mine. All settled? Yes. Then let's go home. A month later, Julian chartered a luxury cruise ship and threw me a wedding the world would remember. Sapphire sea, cloudless sky, flowers carpeting every deck. I floated down the aisle in white, arm hooked through my father's, toward the man who waited at the other end. Julian stood in an ivory tuxedo, so handsome I forgot to breathe. As my father placed my hand in his, the so-called mad dog of Riverdale actually shed tears in front of our guests. Morgan, do you take Serena to be your wife, for richer or poorer, in sickness and in health? I do. Julian roared the answer before the minister could finish. I will love her, guard her, live for her until the world ends. Thunderous applause. For the ring exchange, Julian dropped to one knee, kissed the back of my hand like a pilgrim before a shrine, then looked up into my eyes and added a line the vows didn't contain. Thank God that bastard didn't marry you. It let me find the greatest treasure on earth. Sea wind lifted my veil. I smiled the brightest smile of my life at the man who owned my heart. Morgan, let's make the rest of our story perfect. The liner's horn sounded, white doves burst across the sky, and the moment crystallized into forever. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the tale, please like and share it with friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more unforgettable stories. See you next time.